All right, everybody. So you know what? I love traveling around the world. But I don't get to go to a lot of places too often. Although I have been to some cool places like Mongolia. I mean, how many of you out there have been to Mongolia? Another place that I've been to that I absolutely love that happens to start with M is a place called Monaco. You grow up hearing what you think is Monaco is all about, what your expectations are set, but then you go there and it's completely different. It's actually much, much more rich than I ever imagined it could be. And, I thought I knew what wealthy was until I went there. Man, I wish I had the money to live in Monaco, but I can go there on vacation, and so can you, and see what it's all about. And to take us through what's happening in Monaco right now, I have Cindy Hoddeson. She's the Director, North America of the Monaco Government Tourism Office. Cindy, how awesome is it that you get to work with such a cool place?
Well, somebody's got to do it. I do consider myself very fortunate. This year I will be celebrating my 30th year with the Monaco Government Tourist Office, so I suppose that's some indication of how passionate I am about the destination.
30 years for tourism for Monaco. That's unbelievable. Wow.
Yes, it is.
So how many times have you been over there?
I've stopped counting. However, I must tell you that every time I go there, I discover something new.
Which is pretty amazing because it's not that large of a place. How big is it in terms of square miles or kilometers?
The Principality of Monaco is less than a square mile. So for those from the greater New York area or people who visit New York, they might relate to Central Park. Monaco is smaller than New York Central Park.
Wow, that is... That's pretty unbelievable. Or 10 city blocks long for about a mile. I think it works out to be. But also I think half the principality is up a mountain, so it's like another mile up vertically from what I've experienced. Oh my goodness.
Well, the Principality of Monaco is surrounded on three sides by France. Mm-hmm. The fourth side by the Mediterranean, and in very close proximity to the Italian border. So you're right about the mountains, as Monaco sits at the foot of the Southern Alps along the Mediterranean.
Yes, and one of the things I did is we took a Eurorail one day before I've been to Monaco twice. And for the folks listening, I've been there for a couple events over my career. One morning we had breakfast in Monaco, then jumped on that train, had lunch in France, and then had dinner in Italy because it's all so close. I mean, it sounds like that's a big deal, but I think it was a half an hour ride total on the train. Everything is so close together, which is really terrific. But back to Monaco. I think the most tragic thing that I've ever seen, Cindy, in my entire life is that I saw people that I knew eating at the McDonald's in Monaco. That's just not right, Cindy.
I think many of the locals like it because it's something that one might experience somewhere else. But I would agree that with all the food offerings in the Principality of Monaco in all different price categories, it would be a shame not to experience the local cuisine and the many rich tastes from the Mediterranean.
Yeah, and while you might think that, it's super expensive there, and yes, there are some super expensive places, such as Alain Ducasse over at Hotel de Paris. I got that right. It's over there, correct?
Yes, you most certainly do.
When you do go all the way up the hill, which you can actually grab an elevator if you're clever enough to find it, all the way up to the top. The old city of Monaco over there has got some amazing restaurants that I absolutely love that are super affordable, super fresh food, and just, I'm going to say super again, super, super delicious. So I love that part of the Principality.
I mean, one can discover really fine restaurants, and when I say fine, tastes that are going to wake up your palate at all different price points in all the different districts of the Principality. And yes, you mentioned Up on the Rock, which is also known as the Old Town. And this particular part of Monaco dates back more than 700 years. And one can find many tiny little restaurants, some of which specialize in Monegasque cuisine. Ooh. One of the specialties is something called barbacoa, which this is truly from Monaco. And it's a real treat, and it translates to Uncle John in the Monegasque language. And essentially, they're fried pastries that are stuffed with Swiss chard or squash, onion, parmesan, and ricotta cheese, and it's a favorite amongst the locals.
I'm glad that you pronounced that for me. I had no idea that that's how it was pronounced. I actually have a recipe for that here at home that I've been meaning to make for a while, but it just seems like it was a little too much work for me. So I think it's pretty much easier for me just to hop a flight back over to Nice than, Uber on down to Monaco and then just have it there myself. I think that's going to be my big plan for 2018.
And we would welcome you to do that.
So, you know what I love about Monaco is it's so different than every other destination I've been to. And the best way to equate it is it feels a lot like the cleanliness of Epcot Center, but it's actually 700 years old in a lot of places. And it just feels historic yet modern at the same time. I don't know how you all pulled that off, but it's a pretty interesting combination.
Yes, I think that that's a good comparison in some respects. Monaco is a place that has great heritage, as it goes back more than 700 years, at which time the Grimaldi family took over the Rock, where the palace is today. And then as years transpired, Monaco continued to reinvent itself, to look at the needs of the traveler. So Monaco continues to be a luxury destination. However, like many other places in the world, we've now become much more of a relaxed luxury. So some younger people would say, oh, that might be the destination for my grandparents or parents. I think that one might be rather surprised that how Monaco has changed and evolved.
Well, yeah, I think that's a really important point to put out there, because I think us here in America look at Monaco and think, oh, you've got to wear a tuxedo to breakfast, but that's certainly not the case anymore.
No, it most certainly isn't. Should one want to get dressed up, there are occasions in the Principality where you can have that special moment, transporting yourself back to another period in time. But overall, like many other cities in the world, it's much more relaxed today. Some of the fine dining restaurants might require a jacket for gentlemen in the evening, but like it or not, one rarely sees a tie.
Good. I like that, because I'm very against wearing a tie under every circumstances, much to my mom's chagrin, who still insists that it'll make me look professional. So I got that to deal with. So I hope you feel a lot of pity for me there, Cindy.
Well, I'm not bringing out the handkerchief.
Okay, fair enough. Now, there's a lot of great trends out there. One of the things I loved doing when I was in Monaco was looking at all of the spectacular yachts that were in the marina, or the ones that were just too darn big to fit in the marina out in the Mediterranean Ocean. I was sitting in my hotel room looking out onto the ocean, and you could see, or I should say the sea, the Mediterranean Sea, and you could visualize, and you could visualize the names on the boat. So then you Google them, and you're like, whoa, that's the third biggest yacht in the world. That's the fifth biggest yacht in the world. That's pretty heady, amazing stuff. And then to be able to go down to the marina and go to I know that there's like a brewery there where they make their own brews, and you can sit out and just have a giant-sized beer during happy hour for under 10 euros if that deal is still existing there. So to me, it's amazing that you've got such uber wealthiness, but it feels approachable and accessible for somebody that's got a mortal bank account like a guy like myself.
I think many people can thoroughly enjoy the Principality. We have two yacht harbors. One is the one to which you referred, and one can view some of the most fantastic yachts that you'll ever see. In fact, in September every year, we have the Monaco Yacht Show, which has become the most important yacht show in the world. It may not be the largest, but with regard to super yachts, it is the most important yacht show. So, yes, you can sit down at the Brasserie de Monaco and have a craft beer, which is actually brewed in the Principality.
Yep. Yeah, and it was really terrific as well. I loved it. Okay, but you're all on trend now with with what's happening in tourism, and I think that the huge trend that we're seeing right now is that idea of wellness, not just going to a place to relax, but to actually do good by yourself and maybe set the stage for better future habits. What's happening in Monaco when it comes to wellness?
Wellness is an enormous trend right now, although for Monaco, I wouldn't say it's a trend because the Principality's history related to well-being goes back to the late 1800s when people came to experience our first baths, and just like the Greeks and the Romans who recognized the curative powers of the Mediterranean, people came to the Principality of Monaco to take the bath, and they continue to do so at our seawater thermal spa, which continues to transform itself and offers some very unique therapies such as cryotherapy. For those who aren't familiar.
Are you going to put me in a deep freeze chamber, or do I just have to
Yes.
dredge up stuff from my childhood and go, no? And that'll be crying therapy. So more deep freeze.
But
I'm gonna
it's there.
I could be the Han Solo of Monaco. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, cryotherapy, it may not be for everybody, but for those who are seeking it, because it's supposed to benefit muscular problems, jet lag, sleeping disorders. But people perceive wellness in very different ways, and I think that they can find their special spot in the Principality. We have a wide variety of spas, the Seawater Thermal Spa. The Hotel Metropole reinvented or rebranded their spa it's the third Givenchy spa in the world. Fairmont Hotel has a spa where, to me, the best thing you can possibly do is to have a pedicure overlooking the hairpin turn of the Grand Prix. But wellness goes beyond that. It's related to the clean air that you breathe, and why don't we just move the activities out to Mother Nature's gym, where one can jog along the Mediterranean Sea, do some yoga on the beach, and people may not realize it, but Monaco is part of the Via Alpina, which is kind of like America's Appalachian Trail. So if you want to do a bit of hiking, that opportunity is there as well.
I didn't even think about doing hiking, although just walking up the rock is a lot of hiking in itself. That is that's quite the walk up there. Interesting. So when you're thinking of wellness, how do you market that to folks that might be interested in understanding what all of the different opportunities for wellness are in order to drive your tourism business?
And again, wellness means different things to different people.
Yeah,
Some
that's what I want to try
to
understand, how people can differentiate. Hey, I want what I want. Oh, I didn't know that was part of the wellness category. How does that work?
I think part of luxury today is customization, individualization. So some people, maybe wellness is just relaxing, which could be a massage. To some people, it could be wanting to stimulate their circulation or to remove their toxins. But you can find services to meet all those expectations in the Principality of Monaco. And included in the dining opportunities, more and more people today are looking for farm-to-table cuisine. We have, there's a restaurant called Elsa, which holds a Michelin star, and it's the only Michelin-starred restaurant to be recognized as 100% organic.
Wow.
Tennis pro, Novak Djokovic, he himself keeps a gluten-free diet, and he started a restaurant in Monaco called Equivita. So for those who want to have some organic or vegan food, that is also a possibility. The restaurant at our Seawater Thermal Spa has menus with a specific number of calories that people can. So depending on your perspective, I think that we can find something to satisfy you.
Well, I may not be a tennis pro, but I'm certainly an eating pro. So I like what you're saying. I like being able to have a lot of different flavors and experiences. And the idea of an organic restaurant that's a Michelin star place is just fascinating to me. What a challenge that is to not only get a Michelin star, but to do it in that particular way. Pretty impressive.
And it's rather interesting because Monaco is very built up, but you might consider us to be an urban resort. And there are some entrepreneurial type people in the Principality who are doing very interesting and original things. There is a woman who does urban garden gardening, and in fact, she's helped the Monte Carlo Bay Hotel create a garden, and it is from here that Michelin-starred chef Marcel Rovin takes vegetables that he uses in his restaurant at the Monte Carlo Bay Hotel.
Wow. That's pretty cool. And overall, wellness is such a huge business globally. According to the Global Wellness Institute, it's a $563 billion industry and growing at a faster clip than tourism itself. So was this a conscious decision to move in this direction, or it was just like, oh, we've got these great benefits, let's put on the megaphone and make sure the world knows what we already have?
Well, it is clearly part of our DNA, but we do want to communicate this to our North American market, as many people are not aware of this aspect. And so consequently, we've just become one of the founding members of the Wellness Tourism Association.
Oh, that's a pretty good a good idea. What is that going to do for you as a destination?
Well, we hope that it will emphasize our commitment to wellness, and we also hope it will be a vehicle to share Monaco's commitment and some of our offerings to not just North Americans, but to people throughout the world.
Right. Separately from that, Monaco is such a small space. We talked about its size earlier. How do you balance new development there when, I'm here on Long Island. In Nassau County, Long Island, there's no free land. I can imagine there's no open spaces in Monaco to develop. So how does that work? And what is it, just repurposing buildings over time? How do you guys view smart development there?
Well, the Principality of Monaco is also very committed to the environment. Prince Albert is a steward in this particular area, and in fact has a foundation that supports efforts in 3 areas. One of them is to safeguarding biodiversity, another is related to climate change, and the fourth is related to potable water. So right now, Monaco has a sea extension project, but in so doing, it's going to be a lengthy project because they are going to safeguard against noise pollution, also to the safeguarding against displacement of various marine species. So even when we expand, it is done in a very thoughtful, purposeful way.
I love it. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, what else is there to do if you don't do it the right way? You'll screw up all these amazing things that you've done over the last 700 years. All right, before we wrap up, anything else that you think we should chat about? I think the Casino Monte Carlo is pretty awesome. I mean, you do need to get dressed up for that one, but I'd like to play James Bond for a night. And what I think is really cool over there is that it's so historic, and you've got some super old gaming machines in there as well, which is pretty cool.
Yes, most definitely. So the Principality of Monaco has its hidden gems, but certainly whether one is a first-time visitor or a repeat customer, we do have various iconic places, one of which is the Casino de Monte Carlo, which incidentally was built around the same period of time as our seawater thermal baths. People came to the Principality for entertainment. They came to play in the casino. They came to take the baths, to stay at the historic Hotel de Paris and the sister Hotel Hermitage. So we would definitely encourage people to see this building, whether one plays at the casino or not. It's almost walking into a museum. The casino building also houses the Opera House, which was designed by Charles Garnier, who also designed the Opera House of Paris. So one can play in the casino, one can dine in the casino, attend an opera. The possibilities are truly endless.
Yeah, and then one other thing that I remember about Monte Carlo, and you'll have to correct me on the numbers of this, but below below the Hotel de Paris and the Hermitage, there's a wine cellar, and it has, I think, over 500,000 bottles of wine dating back well over 100 years. Am I right about that in the numbers?
The Hotel de Paris has one of the most important hotel wine cellars in Europe. The number of bottles at one time was a bit higher, but today there are over 300,000 bottles in the cellar. So whether dining in one of their restaurants, one can experience some of these very fine bottles. And for people who are looking to celebrate a special moment, whether an important birthday, an anniversary, one can also, there is a private room in the wine cellars where one can hold a dinner for a special occasion.
Which I saw, and the wine cellar is unbelievable. It is the coolest thing that I've ever seen. Lots of different rooms. It kind of reminds me of catacombs under there, but with wine. Really gorgeous, really old, historic, pretty cool looking. So I would say break out the big bucks and create a private party in that room, because you'll get to see an experience that not everybody has a chance to see. All right, Cindy, anything else that you want
We
to
want to create memories.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's what it's all about. And everything I think that we've been talking about this entire conversation really talks about creating memories. And that's on trend with what we're seeing in hospitality. It's all about being able to come home from that trip and have those bragging rights, have those rarefied experiences that are not for the mass market. And Monaco is definitely a type of place that no matter what you do there, you're going to come home, you're going to tell your stories, and people are going to listen. Cindy, any final thoughts?
No, I just want to thank you for your time, and we wish to welcome everybody to the Principality of Monaco.
How can we find out more about Monaco should we want to go ahead and visit?
People can visit our website at visitmonaco.com. However, our team here at the Monaco Government Tourist Office is also available to answer any questions after people have reviewed some of our information.
Excellent. And everyone takes euros over there. Is that correct?
Yes, we do use the euro.
All right. That's good. That's good to know. All right. Excellent. Well, Cindy, thank you so much for being here today.
And thank you.
I want to thank everybody for listening. And on behalf on Cindy and me, hey, thanks. It was great. And I'll be back next week. That is, unless I decide to start drinking more home-crafted brews in Monaco. Thank you, and be back next time.